I know that the night is not the same as the day. That all things are different, that the things of the night cannot be explained in the day. Because they do then not exist, and the night can be a dreadful time for lonely people once their loneliness has started. If people bring so much courage to this world, the world has to kill them to break them. So of course it kills them. The world breaks everyone, and afterward many are stronger at the broken places. But those that will not break it kills. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. If you are none of these, you can be sure it will kill you too. But there will be no special hurry.
What do you think?
Was that Hemingway?
I mean, I could have wrote it.
Yeah, no.
Ever since I was a little boy, the backyard has always been an exciting place to play. When I moved to Wyoming, the backyard became a wild, untamed realm of endless adventure. I'm Sean Parker, and this is Bighorn Mountain Country. Oh, hello. I've just been spending some time with Ernest Hemingway here at the Historic Sheridan Inn. Who is Ernest Hemingway? Well, I'm glad you asked. Ernest Hemingway was a writer, novelist, short story writer, editor, sportsman, and bon vivant. Born in Illinois in 1899, Hemingway served on the front lines of World War I. During Hemingway's service during World War I as an ambulance driver, he was injured. And he spent much time during his recovery talking to a fellow American about how much he wanted to visit the West. A lifelong desire to visit Wyoming and fish in cool mountain streams led him to Sheridan County in 1928. Hemingway first visited the Folly Ranch, then came to the Sheridan Inn, where he wanted to sequester himself into a quiet place where he could work on his next novel, A Farewell to Arms. A Farewell to Arms is a retelling of Hemingway's time in World War I as an ambulance driver on the Italian front. It tells the story of Frederick Henry, a young man who was injured during his service and his love affair with an English nurse. The success of Hemingway's writing made him one of the most famous authors and famous people in the world. From a young age, Hemingway was a larger-than-life character who was considered by critics to be one of the best and most important writers of the 20th century. His understated economical style made him a juggernaut, not just among critics, but also among contemporaries like James Joyce and Ezra Pound. But it wasn't just Hemingway's writing that made him famous. His wild outdoorsman persona preceded him everywhere he went. He loved women, he loved his drink, and he loved adventure. Some would call him extremely reckless. He was injured numerous times on hunts here in Wyoming and elsewhere. Plane crashes in 1954 left him in pain for the bulk of his life. And Hemingway took his own life in 1961 at his home in Ketchum, Idaho. But Hemingway's legend endures. He was an icon, he was an outlaw, he was a renegade, he was a maverick, and he loved Wyoming. This is our story about Hemingway's Wyoming. Death in the Mountains is, of course, a play on the legendary cocktail. Death in the Mountains also alludes to Hemingway's nonfiction book about Spanish bullfighting. That book is a critical exploration of the nature of fear and courage in the face of insurmountable odds, which honestly could define any great adventure in the Bighorn Mountains. To that, our story is not about death being an end, but to the beginning of new things, of new experiences, of a grand exploration in the Bighorn Mountains.
So this is not about bullfighting?
I'm pretty sure bullfighting is universally frowned upon. Sheridan in the late 1920s was a rip-roaring place, and while Hemingway found some of the peace and quiet he so fervently desired at the Sheridan Inn, there were also many distractions to occupy a young man's attention. One of those distractions was the WYO Theater. The WYO, known during Hemingway's time as the Lotus, was legendary for showing vaudeville acts as well as talkies, and also for its Western films. We're gonna check this out. What's your best WYO memory?
Anything at the WYO?
Yeah.
Ooh. I was, as a little kid, I was in plays here with Dick and Tammy Davis, and I was the dog catcher in Annie the musical once.
Did you have to audition for that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't audition for the dog catcher, and the dog catcher's what I got. I auditioned for Annie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Welcome to Wyoming's Wonder Picture Palace. The WYO, since its inception in 1923, has always been deeply connected to the cultural heart of Sheridan, Wyoming.
that's right. When they first started showing talkies in 1929, people would come from all across northern Wyoming to see them.
And in the 1930s, when Sheridan's reputation as a dude ranching mecca reached its zenith, the theater was rebranded the Western Theater for Western People. A remodeling in the 30s dressed this place up in huge log slabs, Western art and murals, pine for days, buffalo heads, and even Indian rugs. You know, it's really no surprise that Hemingway loved this place as much as he did when it was charged with so much energy. Of course, little has changed in the time since Hemingway first visited. The WYO Theater continues to host amazing galas, events, and festivals. Festivals like the legendary, potentially greatest film festival of our age,
Yeah.
the WYO Film Festival.
I heard that there may be still some tickets left, too.
But they're selling like hotcakes. You know, back in those early days when Hemingway was young and first visited Wyoming, there were a lot of distractions to occupy a young man's time.
And he visited during Prohibition, when booze probably flowed more freely than any time in U.S. history.
It was everywhere, and one of the places that booze was most prevalent was at the legendary Mint Bar.
It's 10 in the morning, Sean. What are we doing here?
Well, you know, it may be a little bit early for the Mint, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and I'm also getting a little hungry.
What are you in the mood for?
Hemingway, of course, was a legendary carnivore of epic proportions, and while there are plenty of places to grab a steak or a burger right here in town, I think to properly pay homage to the mythos and legend of Hemingway, we really need to do something special. We are standing out front of the Bozeman Stable, which is a new restaurant here in Bighorn. Formerly, though, this was known as the Last Chance Saloon, and this was one of Hemingway's favorite watering holes. What's interesting about that, though, is that Hemingway visited first in the late 20s, when Prohibition was still going on. Hopefully, though, we don't have a problem getting a drink. Let's check it out. Well, we're at Hemingway's Last Chance Saloon, now the Bozeman Stable, and I had to give in. You can't come to Hemingway's favorite watering hole without having a drink. So we've got a Tom Collins, and Max has some bitters mixed into some soda.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers. Here's the Hemingway.
That's a lot of, oh, it's beautiful.
So this is the first of the Hemingway feasts. We've got a rack of ribs. You know, we're not gonna get oysters here in Wyoming, but we've got some shrimp scampi, and we've got mussels. This is for you, Papa. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that, right off the bone. We're getting into it now, heading up to Spear-O-Wigwam, the legendary ranch where Hemingway worked on A Farewell to Arms. It's a 22-mile drive from Bighorn to Spear-O, no problem for our modern mechanical bull. But in the 1920s and 30s, this was an all-day affair, fraught with danger on one of Wyoming's most perilous roads. Spear-O. Willis Moses Spear established the Spear-O-Wigwam in 1923 as a high camp in the Bighorn Mountains to complement the guest ranch he also ran at the Spear Ranch near Bighorn.
I got top bunk.
I've got big spoon. Wow. Spear-O's association with Hemingway has brought much attention to the mountains over the years. This, one of Wyoming's greatest attractions, is as spectacular today as it was a century ago. We're settled in at Spear-O and we're ready for some action. But first order of business, jumping into Park Reservoir in our old red canoe. Let's go.
Whoa.
There's not supposed to be wolves here. That's probably coyotes. But man, does that sound like wolves. Bright, beautiful morning out here. Three amigos heading out on horseback into the wild. That's it.
I'm Bob Barlow.
I'm Mark Patterson.
We're the wranglers and packers here at Spear-O-Wigwam. We're in a great place. We're right here at the base of the Cloud Peak Wilderness. We've got endless trails to ride. We've got beautiful mountain lakes and streams, plenty of fishing, and horse and mule is a great way to access that country.
And I think that's one of the special things about this job. We love doing it ourselves. We love being back here. But to have other people come and experience the magic that we get to enjoy every day is truly special.
Canyon? Oh, okay. I get to ride Sally. Did you hear that? Bring Sally up.
You're actually the mean one.
Bucking a horse? Yeah. When was the last time you were riding?
Couple months maybe.
It's been some moons for me. Last
Many?
time was doing some jumps and tricks.
Kick flips and stuff.
I did a kick flip
Yeah. Cool.
and some other moves.
Rails? You grind any
I grind
rails?
a rail. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to do on a horse is grind a
Oh,
rail.
yeah.
A lot of tricks you can do.
Oh yeah.
You ever roped off a horse?
I think I tried when I was a kid.
Like a lasso?
Yeah.
Did it work?
Not very well.
No?
It's hard, man. Too much coordination required.
I did see you jump out of a boat last night, so I understand. So the story goes that Hemingway got bucked off a horse in his early days here in Wyoming. He broke his arm and he had to have surgery, and it was pretty serious. And he was laid up for a while and he couldn't work, and he got pretty stressed out about that. But as the story goes, he came back to the ranch and he wanted to buy the horse, which surprised the rancher. But Hemingway didn't want the horse because he liked him. He wanted the horse so he could shoot him. Now, all that's said to have taken place over in Yellowstone country, since we know no one in the Bighorns would ever hurt a horse. So this is it right here. This is the Hemingway cabin at Spear-O-Wigwam. This is where Ernest Hemingway spent a large portion of his time working on a farewell to arms. This right here is an important piece of American literary history. I was first introduced to Hemingway in high school when I read For Whom the Bell Tolls. I was struck by Hemingway's bold, economical verse, his poignant exploration of difficult themes like camaraderie, sacrifice, and even death, and I was spellbound by his wordplay. Throughout the novel, Hemingway writes the Spanish expression of exasperation, "Me cago en la leche," which so wonderfully translates to, "I shit in the milk." This is a literary giant at the peak of his powers.
Good evening, America.
Welcome back. Welcome back to a movie.
Welcome back to a movable feast. Okay, movable
Come on,
feast.
don't.
We're having hamburgers. Ernest Hemingway's favorite hamburger, his own
favorite
recipe.
hamburger. His own recipe. We're gonna start with 1 pound of lean ground beef,
Okay.
and then we're gonna throw in 6 ounces of salt pork. So you
like
can
it.
take those
Yeah.
and put them in that bowl and mash them up together with
Cool.
a fork. We have some capers right there, which is a little strange for a burger, but we're gonna go for it.
I love it. Yeah.
We're gonna beat that egg. We're gonna whip that guy up.
Okay.
We've got a tablespoon of sage. We've got a tablespoon of India relish. We've got a trio of green onions. And then we've got a very special concoction here. Now the company that made this is called Spice Island's Beaumont Seasoning.
And the Sage is as well, Spice Island. We're not
They-
sponsored by Spice Island.
We are not sponsored by them at all.
Let's mush.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some
Want
mushing
you
here.
get a fork? Did you wash
Yep.
your hands?
Oh yeah, I did. Twice. I'm excited. These are kind of unusual ingredients.
Extremely unusual. And you know, the really remarkable thing about these burgers is there's no secondary garnishing. So Hemingway was also known for his legendary proclivity for the finer things in life, even during Prohibition. So we've got a third of a
Do
cup.
it in as I mush. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's right.
Yep.
A third of a cup of dry champagne. Okay, so Max is finishing up these patties. We're gonna get these ready to hit the fry pan in a second here. 6 uniform, lovely little nuggets of meat. They're ready to go. We're gonna get them into the pans here, and we're gonna start cooking. We gotta eat our food. Okay, are you rolling? Oh, what happened there? And we're back. As you may have noticed, we've been running the show a little later than we probably should have been, so power has gone off. This is as legit as a Bighorn Mountain experience gets, my friends. And we got right here, we got a Hemingway burger about to go down.
A couple of hungry boys.
You know what? You know what this is? It's about to get serious.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go for it.
Juicy.
Oh my god. I can really taste the history. Oh,
The capers are good, man. The capers are nice. I'm gonna put capers in more burgers.
that's a weird flavor, but I like it. Oh, I guess I should bring my fishing stuff. Do we need GoPro? Probably.
Sure. You can actually catch fish this time?
Me?
Yeah.
I caught 11 last time.
You did? How many fish did Sean catch last time, Max?
No.
That's what I thought. He says he caught 11.
Is he lying again?
Yeah.
He's a mendacious man.
I'm following the Sean Parker.
We're going fishing. Hemingway's first summer in Wyoming, he caught 600 fish. got some catching up to do. So we haven't had as much luck here. Thought we might, but you know, it's Hemingway's spot, so it's probably fished a few times. Maybe Max doesn't have the right lure on or something. But we're behind. We're behind. We haven't caught 600 fish. But you know what's really neat is that when Hemingway came out, when he split his time between Folly Ranch and Spear-O, is that on his first day, I think the rumor goes that he caught 30 and he wrote 10 or 11 pages. The next day he caught 2, he wrote 5 or 6 pages. And on the third day, he caught 40 fish and he wrote 0 pages. So he got pretty frustrated and he headed back down the mountain. And that's when he spent some time in Sheridan. And he wrote at the Sheridan Inn, where he checked into. It's actually where he finished the Farewell Arms. He caught some shows at the WYO. He met some new friends that inspired Wine of Wyoming, an amazing short story. And he also drank and played poker at the Mint Bar. This is during Prohibition, but you know, that's not gonna keep a good bar down. We know that. So we're gonna move on here, see if we can't find some trout a little further upstream. Well, that's a wrap on our time here at Spear-O-Wigwam, one of the most magical places in the Big Horn Mountains. Max, there's lots of adventures waiting ahead of us. Are you ready?
I'm not leaving.
Fair enough. I wonder if we'll ever see Max again. I'm gonna miss that guy. It's not hard to see why Max, or anyone else really, would want to spend as much time as possible getting lost in these mountains. They are, after all, one of Wyoming's grandest playgrounds. But there are other places worthy of attention, like this, the legendary Mint Bar. Well, you know, all great things must come to an end. And I'm just sitting here musing on a legendary Hemingway experience here in Sheridan, Wyoming. Spear-O-Wigwam and the Sheridan Inn, and finally here at the legendary Mint Bar. Just looking through some old pictures of my friend Ernest and my dear, dear sweet friend Max. Ah, Max. No one left to laugh at my jokes or muse at all my legendary Hemingway quotes.
Not another Hemingway quote.
I haven't used that many. The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. I drink to make other people more interesting.
Nope.
Always do sober what you said you'd do drunk. That'll teach you to keep your mouth shut. You never want to confuse movement for action.
Would you stop?
I sure will miss that guy. But this has been an epic experience. We hope that you'll join in next time. And that you'll experience all Hemingway did when he came to Sheridan, Wyoming, a home of icons and outlaws. But I refuse to go down like that. Hemingway wouldn't have it, and I'm not going to have it. I feel like there's one last grand, great adventure that we must cling to on this journey. Cheers!
To the Big Horn Mountains, baby.
To Hemingway.
That's a wrap. That's all she wrote. That was the last time we
we ever saw Max.
Well, let's go back and forth a couple